Crusaders, what's up? Welcome to this special career chat that we have. Man, we have somebody on here that's going to share his story, his unbelievable story of persistence, as well as commitment to his career. He's a fellow Crusader, just like you. He was one of our early members in Crew Coach. Let's welcome Thomas Stevens. What's up, Thomas?
Yo, what's up, Kenny? How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing so freaking good. I am so blessed to be here. Better now that I'm seeing you, man. How's it been going out there on the road?
It's been going great. A little stressful, a little tired, but it's definitely worth it. It's been a joy. I'm really enjoying it. Can't really complain.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, look, let's dive into this career chat. So, what were you doing? First of all, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you were doing before you found Crew Coach, and kind of what did life look like? Like, why were you even interested in joining Crew Coach? Were you already working in events? Where were you based? That type of thing.
Yeah, so I'm Thomas from the Midwest, Central Illinois area. Before Crew Coach, I was working in construction, grinding it out. And I always had an interest in music, live music. Just wasn't really sure where to go with it. There's not really programs out there that you could just be like, hey, how to tour, how to get into touring, this, that. A friend of mine introduced me to you and your program, and that's where it all started.
Okay, so which friend was this? Was this?
This was Rachel Ingberg.
That's right. One of our early members of a prior program of mine, Backstage Crew Career Course. That's right. Okay. So she tells you about this guy, Kenny, this crazy guy and his crew coach program. What was that all about? Because what made her send you to here? What were you interested in doing?
Yeah, so like I said, my main goal was to get on tour and have a touring career.
Okay.
Like I said, I wasn't sure where to start, and I saw she was always posting about your program and her starting her journey in touring, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. How can I do this? And from there, like I said, when I hit you up, we got in contact and we started the thing. And it wasn't just, hey, here, join my program. We're gonna do this. It was we sat down, and we kind of broke it down on, the basics of where to start and grow every week to pursue the career.
Right. Okay. So when you joined, was that the beta launch or was that like the first initial launch of Crew Coach? Could you join my initial master class that I did, or were you part of the beta group? I can't remember.
I was not part of the beta group.
Okay.
The 90-day beta group was not me. It was the first actual class course you put out.
So did you have any experience in events at all, or you were just mainly working construction and you saw Rachel's stuff and you were like, that would be cool?
Yeah, no experience at all. Literally once I joined your program, and we started from the foundation, within a couple weeks, I got hired as a local stagehand, and that's where it all started and kind of took off from there.
That's awesome. So I mean, in Crew Coach, I obviously encourage you guys to start with local crew stuff, even if you've got an idea that you want to be a tour manager or something, merch or whatever. I always like to push you guys local crew because it gives you this wider understanding of the inner workings of all of the positions, not just the production side or the admin side. How beneficial was that with you starting as a local crew, and how did that come to be? You learned about local crew through Crew Coach. What was that process like?
Yeah, so I kind of knew a little bit about local crew before joining Crew Coach. Um, and it was kind of really strange because I come home one night from working my construction job and I'm just like, I need to do something to pursue my dream career. And I sit down, I'm eating dinner, and on TV, they're like, hey, we're hiring stagehands at our local arena. And I'm like, that's weird because I'm trying to get into the industry. I want to, start here and build a career. And it was the same time I was joining Crew Coach. I'm like, it's crazy. It's all coming around right now, like perfect timing for all this. But yeah, went, applied. Literally, they said, hey, come on in, do the thing. And it was great because with working as a local hand, you're working in different departments, every gig. So you're learning so much, different things and different aspects of the industry and of touring and gigging. So that was very helpful.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember when you first joined, it was like, I think you wanted to be in backline and be like a drum tech. Am I wrong? Or maybe that was someone else.
No, that is correct.
But your path led you elsewhere. You know, a lot of people kind of come in crew coach and get them started with their local crew, and they're thinking that they want to do, you know, drum teching or audio or lighting or video or whatever, but then they end up being attracted to another area. Where did you kind of start to lead to when you started as a local?
Yeah, from there, it was more of the audio. I was really interested in doing the audio work. I don't know what it was, but that's what really pulled me. No hate towards my video and lighting friends and whatnot, but yeah, the audio I just was very intrigued by and really enjoyed that. And so I started working with the audio crews at all these gigs, and I really enjoyed it. It was really nice.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Okay, so I remember you chose audio. How did we get you to being from local to actually breaking into the audio side of things? What was some of that coaching and what did you actually do to become an audio person?
Yeah, so a couple things, just some basics. You helped me build a correct resume. My resume was all over the place. Um, I've never had actual like a sit down with someone. Like we sat down, we went over it a few times. And I've never done that before. That's why it was always so sloppy. You helped me get my resume right with the training and coaching we've gone through, as well as reaching out, and following up with these companies. Little things like that, which it seems little, but those are actually big things. And one of the biggest things for me was when you reach out, if you don't hear from them, don't be scared to send another email, another follow-up email, another follow-up call. Because some people are like, oh, I don't want to keep bugging them and bugging them, but once you do that, like it actually helped me because I did that, and then they finally reached out and said, yeah, like, let's do it. I finally got those interviews and those Zoom calls and things like that to try to get the ball rolling with these companies.
So before, and you're right, you know, I always like to say that the gigs are gotten in the follow-up for sure. Um, But locally, did you, before you found the touring company, and we'll get there, that you're working with now, but was there other companies other than the local crew stagehand stuff that you worked with as the next level technician at all?
Yeah. So as a stagehand, I was doing stagehand work, local work. And then I reached out to a small venue here in town. It's maybe about 1,000 cap venue. And I just said, hey guys, I'm interested in audio work. Can I come shadow your engineers and just learn? And they're like, yeah, come on in. We'll get you hooked up with our audio engineer, front of house guy. And so I met the guy, very cool guy. And he said, dude, come in whenever you want. Here's our schedule for, this month and this month. Come to whatever show. We'll teach you whatever you want to know. And so I started doing that for about 2 months. And after 2 months of just shadowing, not even getting paid, just learning, they're like, hey, you kind of know what you're doing. We want to put you on payroll, and come make shows and we'll pay you for it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like only 2 months in, like that's sweet. So that was very cool of them to do. And then one of the engineers that mixes front of house at this venue also has his own regional company, audio company. And he's like, hey, you want to come do gigs with me when we're not gigging here at the venue? And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like, sweet. So now I'm working with more people and just get more experience at that still local regional level before taking it to, all the way to
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah. Okay. So you know do some of the stuff that we coached you on to outreach and just to try and find opportunities to learn because yeah, you didn't get monetary pay, but there's so much compensation, so much pay in education. Without going to an audio school or anything like that, like they literally opened the door and said, sure, come on in. And then eventually it led to a paid position. I think a lot of people are so worried of doing that because they have bills and things like that to take care of. And so they're like, I don't think I can go and work for free, because it's a mindset thing, isn't it? It's like if you think it's free, then it is free, and you're not being able to get the education and the lessons that you need to leverage forward. And of course, the relationships that led to that regional sound company that you started doing gigs with. Let me ask you, during this time, were you still doing construction?
Yes, so I was still working about 55 hours a week, doing my construction job. And then on the weekends, I was always gigging every Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday evenings, I was doing gigs. And then there were still a couple times during like the weeks I'd get off work, 7 o'clock at night and go help do some gigs as well. Despite being tired, I just, something I wanted to keep up on. I wanted to keep grinding, and I don't want to give up on it.
So this was probably all within what, like 4 months, maybe less than six,
Yeah, I would definitely say maybe about 4 months, less than six for sure.
that
Because
you.
yeah, I was in crew coach for only 90 days and it blew up real quick.
That's right. That's right. So it might have even been like 90 days worth of local slash regional stuff before we started to have the conversations of kind of like really casting a bit further net, right?
Correct, correct.
So then what happened? You're working regionally, things like that. You knew now that audio was your thing. You're getting trained in audio. Now you're getting paid. And at what point did you have to say, I can't do the construction stuff. I need to do the production stuff full time?
Yes, so I'll never forget I was out at a job site on my construction job. I was working at the time, and it was like December-ish. It was very cold out, and I'm like, man, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of working on the cold now, and it was just a rough day. I said, all right, this is the day I'm putting my foot down and we're taking it to the top, and I'm gonna start doing the gig thing full time. I'm gonna make a career out of it. Like I'm ready to do the damn thing.
And then what happened? Did you
Um,
actually put your notice in, or did you just start calling the regional sound company, try to book your schedule up more? Like, what did that actually look like?
yeah, so from the training and the coaching from you and the program, I reached out to Claire Global, biggest audio company in the world. Reached out to them, sent them my resume, did a couple follow-up emails, and then I had a couple Zoom calls for some interviews booked. I believe it was 6 interviews I did. I had 6 separate Zoom calls with over a 2-week period with the guy out at Claire who does all the training for all the new people coming in. Um, and we got to a point where I'm like, okay, are we gonna do this? Are we gonna go forward with this? Or are we just gonna keep interviewing? At that point, I reached out to another company, 8 Day Sound out of Cleveland. Um, and same thing, sent them my resume, did a couple follow-up emails. They interviewed me right away. It was pretty quick. And they're like, yeah, like let's schedule another interview. So I did a second interview, hoping we weren't gonna do what we did with Claire and go through 7+ interviews. And then one day it was, well, I'll never forget, it was a Sunday morning, sitting out on the porch, and I get a call, which was kind of random on a Sunday morning from a business, and like, hey, it's 8 Day Sound. We want to offer you an invite to come out here and do our internship program, our training, and get you out on the road as a full-time road staff as audio tech. And I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like I was like running around the house. It was insane. And now we're here. Um,
Well, I know that's a big leap, and let me stop you right there, because I remember all of this. Yes, it happened that quickly, and as I said, it can happen that quickly for people that are willing to continue to learn and put themselves out there and do the follow-ups and trust that they need you as much as you need them. They need you to be the right person, and you found that out. And I know Claire Brothers was your number one desired company because they're the largest sound company in the world. And I think it was probably like maybe about 4 months or so in this was all going down of you joining Crew Coach. the one guy said to you that was hiring, he said, I think that you need to come back in like 10 years when you have more experience, right?
Yeah, so there was a couple things with that. One, he was asking me, "What's my end goal? What's my main like dream job within the company I like to do?" And I said, the end goal would be to mix monitors. And he was telling me, "Well, it's going to be about 20 years until you can do that," which really kind of like blew my mind for a minute. I'm like, 20 years for me to work for you guys until I start mixing, which was kind of crazy. But then another thing was said is, you don't have a lot of experience in a couple different areas. So come back when I do. And I totally understood where he was coming from. At the same time, that type of experience that he wanted me to come back with, it was pretty hard to get at a local or regional company.
Yeah.
Um,
And what did I tell you to do? I told you he's messing with you.
yep. He
He's
kept telling
testing
me,
you.
poke the bear.
And you did, right? You got back with him and he kind of appreciated that, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he really liked that. That I wasn't just all right, just let's drop it and move on. He really enjoyed that. I wasn't standing down and I continued to reach out and try to make things happen.
Right. And so during this time, I remember you got that opportunity to come to Eighth Day Sound to be start their internship program. Yeah, I think it was even less than 4 months of you joining Crew Coach. All of this happened, which is pretty incredible, man. Not obviously not impossible, but like it's doable should you put in the right type of work. Now, mind you, Crusaders that are listening to this, he's working construction full time and he's doing this on the other available hours and he's giving it his all, but you're also trying to keep your head in the game, your mindset, right? Because there's a lot of negative people on these gigs, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Like it's
So go
crazy.
ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, yeah, you're right. A lot of negativity, negative people, and it's like, guys, we're touring, man. Like we all wanted to do this. This is a career we want to do. Like, why we got to be negative, man?
Well, such is the nature of the industry. That's why crew coach and our principals is such a rare thing to get to have. But so they offer you this internship. Then what happened? Because there was about a period of time where I gave you some real hard coaching. And what did this little transition look like?
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things was now getting to Cleveland and moving there. That was one thing that was difficult. Um, looking back at it now, it's like don't stress over the money. It's I'm not here to get rich. I'm here to have an enjoyable career. But no, I did a couple of things. I'm like, all right, how am I going to be able to afford to move out here now for 12 weeks plus 12 over 12 weeks to do this? One thing I did, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do. Um, I had a skip a payment on my car loan, so I did that. That helped me save money to move out there. Like it sounds stupid, but I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do and grind it out every last penny of mine to move out there to do this because this is my career now,
Yeah.
and how bad do I want it? And it's kind of like you said earlier, I was, volunteering my time to get the education and learn. Um, so it's not always about the money. That was one thing I really stressed about on getting out there and doing that. But we
But
made it.
there's one thing that I want you to touch upon and talk about is you had a personal issue, a couple of them. For one, I remember you and your missus, she's a traveling nurse, right? And so she was headed to Texas at the time, I believe, right at this time where you got this offer and this opportunity. So when Eighth Day reached out to you, you didn't actually say yes, did you?
No, I forgot exactly what I said. Um, but I was iffy about it. That we were going through. Okay, she's going to Texas. Um, I was trying to get out to Ohio, plus our house in Illinois. Um, Fortunately, she was able to get a contract in Cleveland for work, um, which her contracts with her job, they pay for the housing and moving and all that. So that really came in clutch um, to get out there. But for a couple weeks, it was very, am I actually going to do this now?
Well, I remember a little bit different timeline. I remember when you reached out initially, and they made you this offer, you said no. You said, I can't do it right now. And they said, well, they have a second date way in the future, because the reason why you couldn't do it was because you were going to go to Texas and stay with your missus and take care of your dog. And you were going to be out there for like 90 days or something like that, right?
Yep, I forgot all about that. I feel like it's been so long ago. Yes, they offered me, they had, I think it was in February, they had their next class of interns coming in. And I'm like, I just couldn't do it. And you're like, dude, they just hired you, man. Like this is prime opportunity. The
What
offer
you've
is
been
right
looking
here.
for.
And like, if you wait, they're gonna just fill your spot for someone else that can do it and want it. And yeah, I totally forgot about that. That was
It's a big part of the transition. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because if you hesitate in this, there's a really good chance that the call doesn't come back, that the call doesn't come back around, and that you have to kind of enter in a different way. And this was a massive opportunity for you. And what I ended up coaching you through was the fact that, like, you're either committed to doing this or not. And you had made some excuses, if I may, about moving with your missus, your dog. I don't know what I'm going to do about my dog. I'm like, man, your dog? Like, you got to figure this out, because you're talking about wanting a touring career. You're going to be leaving your dog a lot over the next coming parts of your life. And so, like, you're either going to commit to this and figure this out or not. And so during that transition, I gave you some pretty hard coaching, didn't I? I was kind of like, well, I don't know what else to tell you, Thomas. All this work we done, you're going to throw it down the drain because of your dog, because you got to, like, what? And so what ended up happening? I know that you kind of like pushed that to the wayside, but it was a big part of my part of helping you through this.
yeah, that was yeah, very very tough decisions at that point. But I remember reaching out to the lady back in HR at 8th Day. And I just said, "Hey, do you guys have another time that you guys are doing this and whatnot?" And she reached out saying that they had another course in the summer. It was a couple months after that February class that I originally was gonna do or try to do.
Yeah.
Um, and so then we locked in there, but she also said I could come in earlier as well before the class starts and start working in the shop and kind of familiarizing myself with everything. And so that's what I ultimately did. I started working there month or two before classes started, before the internship started, and we went from there.
Yeah. How supportive was your missus throughout all of this?
Very supportive, especially since she's traveled for work for 5, 6 years. She's like, I can't say no to you traveling for work. Like, you deal with me traveling for years. Like, this is your dream. Like, go do it. Like, she was
Yeah.
100% supportive. And she was very excited for me as well.
So, what were some of the hardest parts through all of this before you finally got on with Eighth Day Sound in their internship program? Was it were the gigs tough? I mean, was it getting your education and your skills built up? Was it just kind of getting your confidence to a level of allowing yourself to move forward, belief in yourself, believing it was possible? What were some of the things that, like, you really got the most out of the coaching from?
Yeah, I would have to say, the confidence for sure really has helped me. 'Cause if you're not confident, like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. I look back at times I was not confident and just everything went wrong. It was just everything went to shit. Let's be honest. When you're confident and you go in there, like, and people look at you different when you're confident as well and treat you,
Mhm.
different, which is crazy. But that and then there's just so many good things, like, from Crew Coach. Like, I don't think I've had, like, any bad or negativity from Crew Coach. Like, every little thing we've done and we've coached on has helped me in some way. If it's from, my resume to follow-ups to reaching out, just, like, little things, which, it seems little until you do it, and it's actually, no, like, that's a big part of, you know, doing it.
Right.
Um, it's just all been great.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I'm stoked for you. And I'm super proud of you. So you get on with Eighth Day Sound. You finally make the move to Cleveland. I know you were worried about paying bills and all of this cross pay and stuff. What ended up happening with that? How are you able to swing it all fiscally? I know you mentioned that you were able to skip a payment with your car payment and stuff like that, but didn't they put you to work pretty right away? Like paid work, paid training?
Yeah, like I said, the first once I got out there, my fiance, like I said, her job with her traveling, they pay for the housing. So that really helped us move out there, and get an Airbnb for the time being, which very thankful for that she was able to, get a contract in Cleveland. And then from there, I started working right away. Like I said, I worked in the shop for about 2 months before class started, which, I'm still getting paid. And then during the internship, it's still a paid internship. Very fortunate for that because there's some internships out there you don't get paid for.
Mhm.
And we went right into it. It was 12 weeks of not making a lot of money. It was a pay cut, from construction. But after the 12 weeks, they're like, hey, you passed, you've done all the training, um, we're giving you guys a raise, and then they sent us out and do more training. And like I said, from there, it just kept going up and up and blowing up.
So you're in there, you're getting you're getting to work in the shop at Eighth Day, you're getting to build the relationships. They're getting to see your worth ethic and your commitment and your confidence and your commitment to the career and to Eighth Day and stuff. Um, was it a smooth transition on the road? Did you immediately get a tour offer? What did that look like?
Yeah, so it just depends. Like some people during the 12-week internship left, mid internship to go tour because they were short staffed. They didn't have enough techs and people to go out on tour. Some people went out 2 weeks after we finished. Myself, I went out, I want to say it was 2 months after we finished our training, just because it was at the end of the year. And I went to Cancun, Mexico, for 2 weeks for two separate music festivals. That was my first, no, I lied. That was my second gig with 8 My first gig was about a month after my internship. I did a one off in Cleveland, which is a really good gig for my first gig. And then a month after that, they sent me down to Cancun, Mexico for 2 weeks for two separate music festivals.
Heck yeah. And during that time, obviously, since your internship, I mean, you were always working in their shop, right?
Correct, correct. Yep.
That's awesome. Getting to meet the touring people that were coming in and out as well.
Yeah, you get to meet, a lot of engineers and you could pick their brain, some RF techs, and if you want to do RF, so many different guys and girls coming in and off the road that you could just pick your brain and learn. It's great.
And of course, you have the gear right there in the shop to be able to learn PAs and different audio consoles.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Being in the shop, all the gear's there. So, if you want to, learn about, a Digico or Yamaha desk, learn RF, we have it all there to do. So that's another good reason. If you're not on the road, you're working in the shop, you can still, keep up with things and train every day or a couple times a
Right.
week, whatever.
Right. And you clearly didn't have an audio degree. This was how you got your degree in audio.
Correct, correct. With that, I think I was the only one out of 7 people in my internship. The other 6 guys and girls went to a 4-year university, but we all went to 8 Day, did the same 12 weeks, all had the same pay. Like it's not always about the piece of paper, but it's all good.
It's that's completely correct. And I just wanted to kind of lean into that because of the way I teach you guys is to go get educated, not schooled. Get your education and get your relationships built up and get your skills built up because skills over school any day, any day. And this is you're proof of that. I mean, you went for a path that actually, if you Google audio and live sound, will send you to degrees in schools and stuff like that. And so this process clearly works. You're an example of that. So you get so finally your I remember your first tour was in like after, I mean, less than a year for sure of being in crew coach. I can't remember exactly how many months you were in crew coach before you were finally offered your first tour.
Yeah, I think it was under. under a year, just maybe 13 months.
Okay.
So yeah, I got out of my internship the last week of August. That following week, went to Claire to do training for a week with their PA. The
Uh,
following week, oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to bring up one thing. By the way, he was shooting for Claire Brothers Audio as his number one company that he always wanted to work with. Come to find out, during this time he's there, Claire acquired Eighth Day. So he ends up becoming a Claire person through the back door. Anyways, continue. You went to Claire to go get training.
Yeah, so after my internship, they sent all 6 of us interns to Claire for a week to do some more training out there with their PA. And then the following week, I got my first gig with 8th Day. So this was mid-September now. A month and a half later, I go down, do 2 music festivals in Cancun, Mexico, come back, and it was the day after Christmas, I get the call for the tour. Hey, do you want to go on tour this year? Here's the artist, here's the dates, here's all the information. And I'm like, hell yeah, like let's do it, you know.
What
So
tour was it? Is it?
Zach Bryan,
Okay, country singer.
country, yep.
Okay, cool. And so how's this experience been? First of all, how old are you again, Thomas?
What was that, Kenny?
How old are you again?
How old am I? I'm 29. I turned 30 in 2 days, 3 days.
Hey, happy early birthday, man. Happy early birthday. Well, what a way to end your 20s, right? To finally find it and to build it. And so you get out on this tour. I remember your first tour. Uh Exciting stuff, man. So how did you feel about your first tour? What was your role on this tour as an entry touring person?
Yeah. So first off, it was crazy because this is a massive tour. We're doing not just arenas, but stadiums, multiple nights. It's insane. I'm like, first tour, like we're doing it big. Like it was very exciting. But also very nerve-wracking when we started doing prep at the shop, prepping all the gear. It was exciting, but also real nerve-wracking. Like it is my first tour. And then we get to Lidditz to do rehearsals, and now I'm like, all right, now we're actually doing it. Still very nervous. But just stay calm, we'll get through it. My crew chief's a really great guy, and he knew it was my first tour. So he said, dude, like, no pressure. We're gonna teach you. Like, this is why you're out here, first tour. Um, and so my role is a cable tech. So we have 4 PA techs out here. Um, this tour happened last year as well. The PA techs were swamped in work, like it was too much for them. So I'm kind of like a little auxiliary. I'm helping all 4 techs. I'm kind of taking a little bit of weight off of them, as well as helping the front of house guy get all of our front of house stuff built. Just to help all the way around because like I said, last year when they did this tour, everyone was swamped, and so stressed over the thing. So I don't have too much on my plate, but at the same time, I could do a lot of learning while out here at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, relationship building, because this is how it is. I mean, on the next tours to come, it's going to be like, oh, I want Thomas because of this experience that I had out with Zach Bryan. And so is this tour over? Are you still in the middle of it? Because I know this is pretty recent. That's why I wanted to get this career chat done with you because you're still out there on this tour, right?
Yeah, so I just got home, what, a day ago, from our 4th leg. We just wrapped up leg 4 of this tour. And then we have a little break here. And then we go back out for the 5th and final leg of this tour, November, December. So we have a 2-month break right now. Then yeah, we'll finish up the year, November, December. And that'll pretty much be a wrap.
That'd be a wrap for the Zach Bryan thing. And let me just ask you, because we talked about money before, the money follows this, right? So have you been good with the money? The money's been good enough?
Yeah, the starting out day rate is cool. Like I get it, you knew you all started somewhere. And then, after 30 days, they're like, hey, we're gonna give you a raise. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like they bumped it up significantly, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Well as your per diem, that also goes in effect and helps out a lot.
Yeah.
So, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I'm still comfortable. Um, and especially for what I do. I know I'm not the hardest working person out there, but I'm still working hard, and I feel very good with what I make for what I do.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And you're just getting going. It only gets more and more and more from here as your responsibility grows and your reputation grows. I just wanted to mention that because so many people are so focused on the money, but if you're willing to go through the transitional phase, the money always follows value. And you're in the beginning of this. How has travel been for you on the bus and off days and stuff like that? Have you been really like soaking it in? What have you been doing on off days? That type of thing.
Yeah, so our first two legs, we had a lot of time off. So we would do 2 or 3 shows in one city, and then have 2, 3 days off, and then 2, 3 shows in one city. So we had a lot of time off, which was very nice. Typically, not a lot of tours are like that. So I'm very grateful for that. Travel on the bus has been really good. I've actually gotten better sleep on the bus than a lot of the hotels, um, which I was very surprised.
What bunk are you?
I'm top bunk, rear passenger,
Rear passenger, right on.
which I did not want a top bunk, but I'm at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the crew, so I totally understand. But no, I get good sleep up there, so I can't complain.
Yeah, no doubt. I always like top bunks, even when I did have choice, because it kind of rocks me to sleep like a baby. I know that there's a training I did about tour, the tour life and everything in the education vault. And I talk about the hierarchy and bunk life. And to me, getting that sway of the top bunk, it's like, it's kind of nice sometimes. It's a little bumpy on the bottom. It's a little
Oh,
bumpy.
definitely.
Plus, me and you, we're fit, young, thin guys. And so we can hop up there, no problem.
Yeah.
And so what do you love most about the tour life?
There's so much good things out of it. One, obviously you're traveling. And with us having so many days off, we actually have time to get out and explore different cities and states and towns we're in. So that's very cool. I've had the opportunity to do some cool things that, and see places I probably would never have been able to see before. And I'm still early on in my career. I'm just getting started.
Oh yeah.
So very fortunate for that. I can't complain.
Yeah.
It's very cool. But then also, every night, once you get everything loaded in, you do sound check, and then once the band comes on and you hear the first notes and just the roar of the crowd, and just like, man, all the hard work, like it's so cool to see everything go into place and 80,000 people in a stadium go crazy. Like it's the coolest thing ever.
It really is, man. It really is the coolest thing ever. I mean, I talk a lot about how, in my first 6 months of touring, I mean, I went all over the US and Canada. I mean, getting paid to do it. Just wait till you get to do places in Europe and Japan and South America and Eastern Europe. And I mean, places like that, it's going to be like, holy crap. Like it changes your life. I mean, there's no better education than travel. You become a really well-rounded cultural human being. So what's next for you? Do you have another tour on the books? Has Eighth Day talked about that? What's going on?
Yeah, so like I said, we will wrap up later this year with the Zach tour. And then next year there's a lot of gigs now in talk. There's a couple that, obviously I can't really say right now. Some stuff hasn't confirmed or been announced to the public, but there's a few that have been in the talks for next year. One of them pretty cool. It'd be cool to get on, but there's reasons why, or not reasons why I wouldn't want to do it. There's just a couple different good ones that let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the future holds. I'm not sure if Zach's gonna go back and tour next year. But even if I stayed with his camp, they're great people. They treat me well. They treat everyone well. Not just production, but the band, Zach, the opening bands. They're just everyone all around is just great people to be around.
Yeah, well, there's so much options and opportunities out there for you, man. There's so much to come. I have spent 20 years touring, and so I understand 20 years, you spent a handful of months touring so far. How long has it been since you got your first tour, I guess?
It was December 26th is when I got the call.
Okay, so we're creeping up on your first year of touring.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. Amazing, man. Well, I couldn't be prouder of you, man. You really were coachable through this whole thing. I know that there were moments there where there was a lot of uncertainty and doubt, and you didn't know, but you kept moving forward, you kept pushing forward. Just watching you really take the coaching has been tremendous for me as a coach because I coach everyone with the same sort of thing, and not everybody takes it. Not everybody is willing to make the sacrifices or cut things out of their lives that require them to make space for the new things in your life. But you have, man, you've made a lot of space for your future, and your future is filling it in. That is for sure. Regardless of what tour you get on, there's going to be so much more opportunity for you to grow in level of responsibility, and who knows what's to come as you continue to be open for it. But you're still shooting for monitors?
Correct. Yep.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, I have no doubt one day we'll talk again and you will be like, hey, I'm now the monitor tech. Oh, and hey, now I'm mixing monitors. So there's a lot to look forward to. Man, what would you say if somebody was just getting going? They're watching this as a crusader, they're just entering in, and they're just like, man, uh, I'm looking for that key critical advice. Like, what would be at least one thing that you would tell somebody to consider if they were just kind of getting going in their pursuit?
Yeah. I just let them know, trust the process, trust Kenny. Like I gave all my trust to Kenny and he didn't let me down. Just follow the process, and take that leap. There's gonna be times where it's gonna be like scary or, intimidating. You don't know what to do. Or it's, a big thing, like for instance, moving across the country. Take the leap. It's definitely worth it. The money will come. The money
Yeah.
will come. That was my biggest thing, and it came pretty quick.
Yeah.
So don't be scared.
I love that, man. That's a freaking great takeaway from all of this experience and great advice. And again, you're just getting going. You're just kind of getting ramped up, but you feel like Crew Coach gave you a great foundation to build on.
Oh, definitely. Like without Crew Coach, I'd probably still be searching how to get on tour and looking at all these random websites on how to get on tour that don't lead me to anywhere. With Crew Coach, you have that foundation and it's organized. It's an organized program of here's where you should start and this is how we do it. And look, I brought out a lot of successful touring personnel out of this program.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, again, I'm super proud of you, Thomas. You're an inspiration. So much respect I have for you. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have you as a Crusader and have been able to be a part of your journey, a small part of your journey. There's so much to look forward to ahead. And thanks again for sharing your story with us here in Crew Coach.
Of course, I appreciate it. Thank you, Kenny.
All right, y'all. So, hey, listen, if you have any comments or anything like that for Thomas or any takeaways, post it in the comment section below. I'll be sure that Thomas gets these. And until next time, y'all, go get them.